Hello out there. My name is Laolu Akonde, and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, here is my take for today, entitled 3 Things. Number 1, no to a coup. Confront Tinubu at the polls. The president, acting as commander-in-chief, has replaced the service chiefs of the armed forces on Friday, in a move that is capable of reinvigorating the delivery of the military at the time the country is battling insurgency and banditry. But few weeks back, there were rumors of some coup planning nipped in the bud with some arrest of senior officers. Was the president's move a fallout of the so-called coup? Your guesses are as good as mine. But if it is indeed accurate, as Sahara reporters and Premium Times have reported, that the military officers who are being detained were actually planning a coup, then we must give kudos to the military intelligence that uncovered it. Perhaps this explains why the president, through a statement by Mr. Sonidare, included the fact that the Chief of Defense Intelligence, who is not a service chief, by the way, Major General EAP Udendeye, was retained in the shakeup. We don't want any coup attempt at all. It's a big no-no. All those who may be dissatisfied enough with the Tinubu administration or the policy and conduct of government, they should arrange among themselves and fight, do the confrontation in the next elections, not by the force of military arms. No. Nigerians who are dissatisfied with the civilian rulers in this country must stand firm against military incursions in our political life again. Rather, they should go and register to vote and be voted for. Let us dispense of this attitude of expecting salvation from soldiers who have been trained to kill and conduct warfare. Let us quench any desires for military coups, even if we are not comfortable with some of the behaviors of our political elite. Let us use our voices and our numbers. Let us mobilize a critical mass of our population to reform the electoral system. And let us invade the voters registered, especially now that there is online registration that is available. I mean invasion, so that we are ready to fight some of the perhaps orchestrated inconveniences around voter registration and voting. That means we have to put our inconveniences aside and do what we got to do, register to vote. This is what we should do. And yes, we can. The second point is on Nnamdi Kanu's case. The IPOB leader deserves a fair and prompt trial. He deserves his day in court. But while the federal government has also not managed this case properly, I think it is becoming clear and clearer that Nnamdi Kanu wouldn't want this case to be sorted out in the law courts. First, they said his health can't take a trial, but the doctor said no, he can withstand a trial. Then on Thursday, the man says he would defend himself and ask his lawyers to leave the case. This is high drama, too much calculation. And I think we should start looking at a political settlement indeed, but that settlement should take consideration of how Kanu should be held responsible for some of his past ignoble deeds that are public knowledge. He should at least apologize if he's not willing to pursue a diligent case in court. This is a more reasonable line of action that he can pursue, that is Nnamdi Kanu, rather than the high drama of trying to force certain politically exposed persons to be his witnesses in a defense that he wants to lead by himself. It's not looking serious. However, the federal government should welcome a political compromise if Kanu is willing to apologize. In my view, that can assuage the feelings of double standards. We see several similar cases where rehabilitation and even forgiveness have been granted instead of punitive consequences. And I'm talking of what is happening with some bandits and what has happened with some terrorists in this country. Point number 3, and this is the question. That ASUU strike, the warning strike, was it necessary? Good news, the leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, they have called off their 2-week warning strike on Wednesday. They said they were doing so to give the federal government some time to resolve the matter. But was that warning strike actually necessary? Couldn't it have been avoided? The federal government said through Dr. Tunji Alausa, the Minister for Education, that on the Friday before the strike took effect, they were engaging ASUU leaders up until Sunday. The minister added there and then that ASUU had promised to get back to the federal government team, but instead, it was the strike announcement that they had in the news. ASUU has yet to deny this line of narrative. So indeed, the federal government was ready to stay on the table on that Monday, October 13, when the university teachers commenced the warning strike. Strikes deployed this way, when it's not necessary, weakens its appeal and bring the suffering to everyone, especially the students. Now, in a democracy, Nigerian workers, all of us, must know that there is a stronger weapon than a strike. It is called political action. Let our professors and our academic university intellectuals think about this and stop this intellectually rigid resort to strike actions that destroys innocent people. The same thing with all the unions. Let us stop this intellectually rigid idea of a strike that destroys the common man. There is a better option, and it is called political action. And there you have it. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I want to open the show with an update on what is happening to Mr. Omoyele Sowore, a renowned activist and presidential candidate in the last presidential election. Like we recall, earlier this week, he was arrested, I think first on Thursday, got a bail on Friday, and right in the court premises where his bail was being processed, the police arrested him again. To tell us what happened, I have with me a human rights activist and one of the lawyers that have been working on this case, Mr. Temitope Temokun, right here in the studio. Mr. Temokun.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Welcome back to Inside Sources.
Thank you, sir. Because to be here.
Yeah, we have spoken with you, if you remember,
yes, I remember.
Daily Farotimi case.
Yes, I remember.
So tell us, what do you think is happening to Sowore? You know, I knew that he was arrested on Thursday. There was a bail, and then on Friday we saw all of those drama. Please give our viewers, you know, a review of what happened.
Yes, well, it's rather unfortunate that we still have to come back to really be divining what happened, whether we are still observing legality, you know, in the process of administration of justice in Nigeria, particularly as relating to Omoyele Sowore, because he has been a regular customer, you know, to the system. So at this point, the issue of all this brigandage that took place in courts, you know, on Friday was unnecessary. I thought we've passed this stage. On Thursday, there was a matter before Federal Court, precisely Justice Onwete Court, that is Court 8, and we were there for that matter. So when we stepped out of court, we were in front of the Federal Court when some officers approached us. You know, it was also more or less like an unruly scene because immediately they came and they said, the CP wanted to see you. I was the one with him, and I still put the question to them, and look, what is happening? Are you here to arrest him, or you are just here to invite him? I think the officer was prepared for both. And when I saw that, and I really saw the impressions, I knew that the people were prepared for troubles. I said, well, let us go. They said, no, I cannot follow. I said, what do you mean? I have to follow him. So I entered the hillocks. He also entered. We now went.
That was on Thursday.
On Thursday. So we got to the office of the DC CID. He briefly talked to us and said that Sowore led the protest, freeing the Kanu process, and that there was court order, and that that court order restricted protesters from protesting around some areas like ASUU and all that, and that Sowore led the protest, and that people have been arrested in connection with that protest. So there's no reason why Sowore too should not be arrested. I said, but is he under arrest? He said, no, that is an invitation. I said, it's fine. He now said we should go and see. They should take us to one officer who is the IPO, that is CSP ASUU. So we went with that one to his office.
Was this at the police headquarters?
Yes, at the headquarters there. So that one I brought out a statement form that Mr. Moyele should write a statement. So at that point, I look at the statement form. I said that this is suspect statement form. It's not witness, because if you said that somebody is invited, maybe probably you said you wanted him to clear some gray hair. That was the way they put it. So if you want him to write suspect statement, what is the allegation now? You know, they were not really ready to answer those questions. So we're just saying you should just write something. What are you saying?
Well, they gave him a suspect form.
Yes. What is the allegation against me that I need to write on? What is it? He now said that if you are not writing, can we record you? He said, you want to record me? How? Because if you are going to record me, this person beside you is holding a private phone. If police wants to use their recording facility to record me officially, fine. You know, forth and back, he now said, okay, let me go and consult. He went out, he came back.
That's the appeal.
Yes. CSP ASUU, he said, okay, we are going to see the IG.
Oh.
I said, okay, that is fine. So we move out. But when we got downstairs too, they were also trying to use force to restrain me that, no, you can't go. I said, you said you wanted to go and see the IG. So, and you don't want his lawyer to join him to see the IG. What are we doing? Some people came, you know, they said, let his lawyer follow him now. So I followed them.
So those other people are also police officers.
CSP ASUU still led them. In fact, I sat at the front of that vehicle with him. It was inconvenient.
Also, you drove to to see the IG.
We didn't see any IG.
That was what they said.
That was what they said. So when we drove off from that place, as we were going, the next thing I saw was the front gate of IRT. That is Abatua police station. When we got there, I now look at him. I said, is the IG here? You said we're going to see the IG. He just laughed. He said that, I just talk to your client, you know, all this wala is too much, just talk to him.
This was the IPO saying?
Yes, and Sowore was visibly angry at the back. Now, what are you saying? Talk to me how? So, to cut a long story short, we now got to a place where they said, this is where my own journey will end. That is the detention facility. So, they took him in, and I now went to see the commander in his office, the commander of that place. That is ACP Victor Godfrey. So we met him together with some of my colleagues too, who were with me. And he now said that his own is just to keep him in custody here. The matter in question here is not being investigated by him. And so for now, it is just the custody that is under his authority. So we left. We arranged for how he was going to be convenient, maybe food and all that. So we left. I called him in the evening. I told him that I was coming to see him. He said, it might not be necessary, that because he's not the IPO. I said I talked to those who brought him. And I said, are you not taking...
That's the commander, right?
Yeah, no, that is ACP Victor Godfrey.
Okay.
Who's in charge of Abatua.
Who said he's just
to keep custody. So the next, by 11 p.m., I got the information that I will be taken to court in the morning. So I was still confused about which court, whether federal court or whether magistrate court Kuje. But later, early in the morning, they said magistrate court Kuje. And we rushed down. We got there. The proceeding started. And the prosecution
was trying. There, of course, you met Sowore there.
Yes, Sowore was there together with some of other people who have been arrested earlier. So the prosecution was trying to argue against bail. It was trying to argue some ground. The magistrate was very fair.
Was that the police lawyer?
Yes, the police lawyer, he's the prosecutor. The magistrate was very fair. He said that this is a bailable offense. That this is my court. And I don't intend to be influenced by anybody. I don't want to even give anybody any treatment. All of them, because when we're trying to make a case that people like Sowore, the presidential candidate, it should be released on personal recognition. And another Aloy Ejimako, that is a special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu.
Right.
You know, I don't know his age, but they say at least around 70 or so. And he's a very senior lawyer, he's a senior citizen. We're trying to make case for those ones.
Recognition.
But the magistrate was still very firm. He said he's going to give the same treatment to all of them. That is fine. And he read his ruling. He gave bail to all of them. He gave the bail on the terms of 2 shorties, and 500,000 on the like sum. And the meaning of that is that the shorties should be worth 500,000. Not that they should pay 500,000. And that they should have tax clearance and the means of identification. Within less than 30 minutes, all these things were ready.
For all the...
It was ready. So that was...
And now, this was now Friday morning.
Friday morning, in my court, Kuje. All of us were there. The lawyers, you know, we were many. Lawyers came.
Right.
We were there. Zore was under the tree. He sat down. We were around him with some other people. And you know other people that have their own different cases too. Mike was sitting. The other cases were going on because our one was the first case.
So you guys were camping outside?
Outside in front of the court.
While the
perfection of bail
was going inside?
Yes. Because at that point, it's the shorties that have business.
Yes.
Once the shorties have submitted the documentation, the magistrate is the next authority
to sign.
Just to sign. It happened around 11 a.m. CSP Ilyasu led other officers. They came. You know, the truth of the matter is that there was preparation for what happened. Because in the morning, vehicle didn't pass that road. There was a blockade. There were 3 blockades. The first one at the first junction that led to court area with armor tanks and police officers. There was another one at the junction of the court.
So wait, Tokwe.
Yes, sir.
So you're telling us that the police authorities, they mounted that kind of heavy surveillance.
It's so serious
because of protest suspects.
Yes.
Who were not harmed.
Yes. You know, it was embarrassing. Lawyers were checking.
Who were never harmed.
They didn't allow people to pass. You have to park your car and now check down.
So what about people who had businesses in that court?
People that had business were still impacted by the brutalization that happened yesterday. Because at the point, another 11 a.m., CSP Ilyasu, because he was on mufti, he was wearing white attire. He now came with those officers. The officers inside the court premises at that point, they were saying around like maybe 20-25. But those outside, they spread. So he came to us. He now asked us to stand up.
That was why you guys were waiting?
Yes. He now asked us to stand up. I said, why? Where am I? What is standing up? He now said, stand up. So I said, what are you saying? What are you talking about? We now ask him. I asked him, what is the matter? Where are you taking him? He said he has a remand order. Where is the order? He brought out a paper. He didn't open it.
Yes.
A folded paper.
That is the
CSP Ilyasu, yes. A folded paper. And can we glance through? When he said he was not going to show it to Sowore, people were even shouting, "Oh yeah, show it to his lawyer." Let me read it.
And you were there?
I was there. I was the one demanding. So he now said no. At that point, you know, it was becoming argumentative. I don't know whether he gave order. They just swooped. And for you to know that it was premeditated. In Nigeria of today, there is no dramatic scene or sight anywhere that passes by. Out of 10, 5 want to use their phone. If for the purpose of cashing funds.
That's normal, yeah.
So, but for you to know that it was premeditated, some of the officers were strategically stationed. So the few attempts made by people to record, they brutalized those ones.
In the court premises.
A lawyer came there. And that lawyer was also one of the persons making an attempt to record. That was brutalized and arrested. You know, it was today we're still discussing how to get his identity. But the woman selling food there was a major victim. Her wares were scattered, the table destroyed, you know. And
so who is going to pay for the destruction of that woman's business?
The woman was not only bitter, she was crying yesterday.
Imagine.
Now, I was there, you know, one of the lawyers trying to ask legal questions. I was affected. I sustained injury here yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Blood was gushing out and my bib was stained. So I didn't have all the energy they were displaying. These are people carrying guns.
So
The officer that carried already were more than 10.
Wow.
They carried him
in suddenly.
Suddenly, and in the point of carrying him, you know, he was not well positioned. He too was asking questions. I saw when one of his hands was already being dragged by another officer inside the car, the other person dragging his leg. I was so concerned about his hand. Now, is this officer really a human being? Was he determined to detach that hand, or he had an issue with that hand? So that was what happened. So when they were eventually able to bundle him into that vehicle, they drove away. And we started making awareness to ask questions. At that point, the magistrate was not even available again to even continue with the bail parsing process. But what we have seen outside there was that yesterday, we were in court, we still waited till maybe for like 4 hours to 5 hours. So at the point information came, you know, police have made the release that it was not a rearrest, that they only went to remand him, you know.
What does that mean?
And that's the question I ask. The procedure must be understood. It's spread in the law. Police officers who are investigating a crime, they have powers to go before a magistrate court to request for a remand order. If they cannot complete investigation within the constitutionally stipulated time.
Right.
That is under section 293 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. They can request for a remand order.
From a judge.
For a limited time, for a just cause, yes. That one is a different thing entirely. But if they have submitted a suspect to the jurisdiction of the court,
right,
at that point, they are the complainant. Commissioner of Police is the complainant. The prosecutor is also a police officer. So now, the court, in exercise of its judicial powers, granted bail. That is freedom, subject to condition. It is not remand. So it is not a remand process.
So in that process, wait, so that I can follow.
Okay, sir.
So in that process,
yes, sir,
Sowore and the rest, they were in the custody of the court.
They were in the custody of the court. If at the close of the day, they could not perfect their bail conditions, the court, the magistrate, will have to connect with the correctional service to come and take them away since they are not able to perfect their bail conditions.
That's the procedure.
That is the procedure. And the only custodial agent under Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019 is the correctional service, the superintendent of wherever office the magistrate decides to take them.
So the position of the police to say that
they have no role to play.
It is not a new arrest.
It is not a role that police have to play under the law. If they mistakenly or intentionally or whether by arrangement get anything like order that is near to order, it is illegal. So there was no order. There is no order. There is no order.
But they brought
assuming the piece of paper in their hand is an order, that order will be an illegal one. They don't have the power to execute that order.
Do you guys find out, or do you know
there is no order
that magistrate,
yes, sir,
that are giving him the bail,
yes, sir,
was he aware of what was going on?
Sir, let me just say this. What we have today, particularly in this case, is just a struggle between power and law. If it is a struggle between power and law, if power defeats law, there is no country again. So who is the custodian of the law? Is the court. We don't want to bring the magistrate in at this stage. Because if they are saying there is an order, we challenge police authorities to publicize that order. Let them publish it for the public to see.
Even following...
If they now publish the order, sir, and we now see the hand of the magistrate there, we can shift attention a bit. But at this point, judiciary, being the custodian of law that can sustain the democracy, the executive, particularly through their police and other agencies, they are trying to take that powers away. Okay, we have to return the power to the court.
So let's get it very clear.
Whatever problem we have with the court will be treated later. But let us return the power to the court first.
So if they said that there is a remand and the police really has to come and clear itself in this matter, and I'm coming to a comment because I'm going to have to make a comment on this. But let's assume that the the process is going on. The magistrate gave a bail, and the bail was being processed.
Yes.
In that condition, is it possible? It seems like a foolish question, but I must ask.
Yes.
Is it possible that the magistrate can still give a remand order when he had ordered for bail? Can he reverse himself?
So legally, I use another term, but I love the word you use now. Reverse. Reverse. There's a bail. If the police should go behind the defendants to try to process any remand order, that is an appeal against that bail order. It's an appeal against that bail order by the back door, because the bail order is an order.
Yeah.
They could not process any remand order after the bail has been, because the bail is freedom under conditions. So now, under Nigerian Correctional Service Act, Section 12, the custodial agent is the correctional service. If at the end of the day, the magistrate has convinced himself that the defendants are unable to perfect their bail, he can issue warrant for them to be taken to the correctional service center. Police have no business in court at that point. The only person that should be in court that yesterday should be the IPO. Yeah. And having read the charge, having arraigned them, his business has finished. Okay. He won't be invited when to give evidence again. But for them to lay siege on the court, taking powers away from the court is something we need to rise up against now. Because if we have problem with our courts, that is another matter entirely. But if police or the executive are taking powers away from our court, and the only thing we can do is to criticize the court, even when we have our reservation about few things. Okay, supposing there is an order truly, and we now discover that the order was signed by the magistrate, we could be talking of other factors. We could be talking about intimidation. We could be talking about doing interference with the process.
This is quite very curious. What is the condition of Sowore now? Where is he? You know, have you guys confirmed?
Yes. By evening yesterday, when the
where did they take him to?
They took him to Kuje prison. And let me tell you very clearly.
Which is correctional
service. What happened yesterday was that.
So they didn't. So I guess they too were. At least didn't take him back on their own cost.
Let me tell you something. Okay. What happened yesterday? Because I've read few releases from the police PRO.
Okay.
What happened yesterday was that what happened in that place was like an instantaneous reaction to an unfavorable situation. They didn't know where they were ever going to take him. But when they saw the outcry, in order to try to color, to masquerade the legality with some legitimacy, I think an afterthought came. Because when we got to correctional service, they said when they brought to Reshuffle, they rejected him. They said there was no proper documentation. In fact, even when we got to the entrance,
I was going to say that.
Yes, they said they rejected him. They said my client is on here, that he has been rejected. Somebody now said, I know they later brought him back for you to know that they were trying to patch it up.
So do we know whether they now eventually presented the proper processes to the correctional center?
It will still be legal. But
you don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened. Okay. The detention, even as of today, it is still an unlawful detention. Why is it an unlawful detention? Has it been established that he was not able to perfect his bail yesterday? No. Now, another source from the police said that he insulted the IG. And that was one led to what happened.
Who said that?
Some of the releases I've seen. Either ways.
Is that official police release?
Either ways. I saw one that was posted on Twitter. In fact, as I was coming, somebody sent it to me. So, what if you say that was what led to what happened? It will still be illegal. If it's a rearrest, it will be legal. If it's a rearrest, based on whatever thing, whether you feel something is insultive, it is still illegal. If it is not an arrest, it is still illegal. It's an undue interference with judicial process. Okay. You have no business being in that premises. You have no business laying siege on the court because of a citizen who is a voice of dissent. Okay.
Last question, and thank you so much for explaining this thing to us in very good detail. What's the welfare of Sowore? Have you seen him?
I just came from Kuje prison now. That was why I was running late. What happened when I got there yesterday was that I went there with some people. People were not happy with the way we saw him yesterday. Apart from the fact that his spirit was still very high, he talked for more than 1 hour, talking to everybody. People were coming to greet him, joking. But his clothes were badly torn, damaged, and still dirty. He was wearing white.
That was yesterday.
That yesterday. It was badly torn, stained, and all that. And I was concerned about his hand.
Right.
I told him, he said they treated him and they gave him a anti-tetanus injection because they almost pulled out that hand.
So how is he when you now saw him on Saturday?
Yes, he's looking better this morning. He's looking better. I said it's fine that they took him to the hospital.
Does he have new clothes?
Yes. He has access to clothes and all that. And
so
by Monday,
what's your plan for tomorrow?
Yes, the legal process is what we know. We don't know the legal one that police are doing. The legal process is to ensure we get back to the magistrate on Monday for him to sign the bail documents. And after that is done, then he will come out. It's another thing whether they will come and lay siege at the front of question.
So what you guys are going to do basically is going to try to go back and complete that process of the bail.
Yes, for
and
the signing.
Get the judge to sign it.
To sign.
Why couldn't you do that on Friday? Was it because of all this chaos?
What happened in the court premises was not chaos. Yeah. It was war. It was war. There is no magistrate who should. How many officers guide the magistrate? Maybe just one. You now have to contend with gun carrying and angry looking 50 policemen who have destroyed a commoner's food table, who have arrested lawyers, who have damaged people's phone.
I'm sure that
nobody should be in that premises.
The magistrate himself is going to be quite taken by surprise.
Everybody,
with what happened.
The truth of the matter, sir, is this, which I have said repeatedly.
Okay.
If Nigerians were able yesterday to see that scene, that site, the entire discussion today will be different. We'll be calling Inspector General of Police to answer questions. But they made sure every attempt to get that scene recorded was resisted and frustrated. That is what is still helping them. All of the videos outside that people have seen, and people are saying now, this is flawless, this is embarrassing. They are nothing compared to what really happened. If people are seeing where they were dragging Sowore, where they were carrying him, somebody holding his leg, and that was holding his neck, holding his hand, different person holding his leg. They planned to harm him. The plan was to dehumanize him, and they wanted to just make sure, like punishment, that no, this person is already in court. Anyway, from now, we know how opportunity of beating him. Let's just quickly. That was what happened yesterday.
Okay.
Thank
you so much, Mr. Temitope.
Thank you, sir.
Temokun.
Thank you, sir. Maybe I should just briefly say this, sir.
Okay.
This Inspector General of Police.
Please, go ahead.
This Inspector General of Police, whatever grievances he may have with Omoyele Sowore, if it is personal, he should let it be personal. If it is official, he should let it be official. If it is official, they should not do it legally. They should not resort to this issue of trying to make power to override the law. And we call on the Attorney General of the Federation. They should rise to this occasion. So whatever was picked in front of the court, Federal High Court on Thursday, in front of the Magistrate Court premises on Friday, that gave him bail. This happened. There has not been an official statement from these quarters. People must rise to protect the law. If they take the law away from us, the democracy is living on a borrowed time.
Thank you.
The borrowed time.
Thank you.
It's very sad.
And I must add also to the police authorities that this isn't looking very, very good. There's no way the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Kayode Egbetokun, there's no way you can be proud of what we are hearing. There's just no way. We have a president in this country, who has been abused over and over and over and over again. It's not delegating people to go after those that have personally abused him. He understands that he is in the position of authority. And so if you're in the position of authority, everybody's not going to like you. But Mr. Egbetokun, you cannot be proud. You absolutely cannot be proud of this kind of behavior that has been described by your officers. This is not the Nigeria that any one of us wants to pass on to our children. And so it's important that we do the right thing all the time, regardless of personal insult. As leaders, we will always be insulted. That is part of the responsibility of leadership. And so I am believing and hoping that Mr. Egbetokun will make sure that there's a redress. Nobody is proud of this. Nobody can be proud of this. Tell the world that you are proud of what the police did to Sowore on Friday. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Temoko. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure.
Welcome back to Inside Sources. In this segment, we want to talk about a few things that have happened lately in the country. And to join me in that conversation, I have Mr. Ismail Omipidon, the Deputy Editor of Politics for Sun Newspapers and a Public Affairs Analyst. My brother, welcome back to Inside Sources.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
Excellent. Let's start from the arrest of a significant number of our military officers. I think the Military Information Directorate said that, they've been arrested for some disciplinary issues. Media reports gave us the number. Some said 16, another said 20. But since that announcement, there has been all kinds of speculation, and I dare to say informed speculations that maybe a coup had taken place. I'd like to start. How do you interpret all of this?
With the change of guard, I am persuaded to make two conclusions. One, there's possibility of a coup. Two, there is something that look like it, and so the change of guard is to forestall it. Those are my two conclusions. However, I'm not a military personnel, but I've had the privilege of taking courses within the military environment, and I've also had the privilege of addressing about 2 or 3 courses of military personnel in Jaji. And my interaction with them shows that, the military is a regimented kind of force. To the extent that if you and if we are serving military personnel, and we show open disagreement about happenings in the polity about government, and 1 or 2 persons gets that information, we can be charged for plotting to overthrow the government.
Oh, wow.
It is that bad.
As simple as that?
As simple as that. Because as a military personnel, you are under a civilian rule. Therefore, you must subject yourselves to the rules of the civil rule. So, careless discussions about some, even when we know that maybe government is not doing well, other Nigerians are discussing it openly. As a military personnel, you cannot do that. Because any attempt to do that, you can be...
Somebody can report you.
Yeah, somebody can report and you can be accused of plotting to overthrow government. And so, but I will suggest very strongly to the government, communication is key. They need to tell us whether it happened or it never happened.
Do you think that if government comes out and concedes that there is a coup, do you think it might affect their credibility? Do you think it can create a credibility crisis, for the government? Because that will seem to be the theory that underpins, the attempt to underplay this thing, because people know what is going on. There are individual families that are affected.
Yeah, for me, I don't think it will create any credibility problem. In fact, they are not speaking to us. They are not communicating the real issue to us. For me, will even create more credibility problem for them than telling us what really transpired.
Now, I have also had, unconfirmed speculations about, what happened to the Chief of Defense Staff, who I actually, really think it seems to get a little bit understanding, from some of the things that he said and some of the things he does. But it will seem that the 2 important messages that came out, in my view, from those changes that was announced on Friday by the president is that so the Chief of Defense Staff is gone. I think the other service, the 2 service chiefs too, Air Force and Naval Force are also gone.
Yeah.
But the Chief of Intelligence.
Yeah, and the Chief of Army Staff. Chief of Army Staff is now has been moved to.
Yeah.
Now. And now, you see, if you look at the appointment of the new Chief of Army Staff, it's a cause 41.
Yeah.
By implication, it means that they didn't find anybody in cause 40.
Yeah, because the previous one was 39.
39. And you know, the current CDS is still 39.
Yeah.
Meaning his appointment won't affect those in Navy and Air Force.
But
the appointment of the Chief of Army Staff will affect those in the Army.
Because
it's cause 41. Meaning that the entire remaining cause 39 and the entire 40. Now, what I find curious is that they are telling us by implication that in the entire cause 40, they did not find anybody suitable.
We don't even have it must be. We don't know the number though.
No, there is. You know, they go is turn by turn. There's cause 39.
No, I mean that
the number of those. It can't be less than 50.
Oh, I see.
It can't be less than 50. Those generals that will go cannot be less than 50.
The 50 might be the class.
No, I mean because the number of those that will go. No, you see, those that will go, those who are of cause 39, who are still in the army.
Yeah, yes.
They will go. Those who are in cause, the entire cause 40.
Will have to go.
Will have to go. Because this man is cause 41. So the implication, my reading of it is that maybe after profiling those who are next in line in cause 40, they probably did not find anybody loyal enough
to
man the position of
Chief of
Army Staff. And that was why they went for a cause 41. Otherwise, I would have thought that if cause 39 is going,
they should
just go to cause 40. And by so doing, it will minimize the number of those
who have to go.
And
that's it. That's really something that really
that is why somebody like me, I am inclined to believe that something happened.
Yeah.
And you know, when things like that happen, the issue of loyalty comes in.
True.
You know, you have to do a thorough background check. Because the way the CDS was going, I had thought that he will spend out because he still has 2 more years to go.
Okay, before retirement.
So I was thinking,
normally it's supposed to be 2 or 3 years in that office.
Well, there is no law. There's no law that says so. But if we look at antecedents, starting from General Sani Abacha spent 3 years plus about 6 or 7 months as CDS.
Okay.
Before he toppled the government. Right. Now, Dia came in. Dia spent less than 6
general staff.
Yeah, Dia spent less than 3 months or thereabout.
Before he became chief of general staff.
The person that has spent more than 2, 3, 4 years is what's this Yoruba man's name? I can't remember his name. He spent about 5 years plus.
Okay, as
CDS.
CDS, okay.
As CDS. Now after him, those who took over between 2 to 3. Now, but the point I'm trying to stress,
Olusegun spent actually up to almost 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I think he's the one. Olusegun under Buhari.
Just like
if you notice, under Buhari, in spite of the obvious liturgy that Nigerians express about those service chiefs, the man never listened to us.
Didn't listen to them.
You know, now this current set of people, I am not sure there has been very strong agitation for them to be shoved aside. You know, sometimes you say, okay, Nigerians have been complaining.
Yeah.
You understand? So the only reason they may have been asked to go may not be unconnected with the alleged coup. So that's why
you believe.
I am being persuaded to believe that something happened.
Okay.
The magnitude, we will not be able to say. For now.
Excellent point. Just to piggyback on what you said about President Buhari and the long tenure of Burutai, General Burutai and General Olusegun. I remember very well when we were in the villa that, of course, there was a lot of clamor.
Yeah, for their
I mean, we even had people in the military try to explain to us, behind the scenes that, look, this thing is affecting the promotion of a lot of people. Yeah. This is how long that it should be and all of that. And people went to the president, several people that were close to him went to the president, and, we just say, okay, and he never did anything up until we have to check 5 or the 6th year, and then eventually when he was asked, when he removed it, he was then asked that, Mr. President, but we've asked you to do this thing, all this while you never did. Why did you do it now? And the president said, because people asked for it. And people have been asking for it, for a long time, and you didn't do it. But I think it goes back to your position that it's all about the comfort level of the president. Because if you look at the guy who is now the chief of army staff, who you're talking about.
He's from, I think
he's 41.
He's 41.
He's from Kogi.
Yeah, North Central. Middle belt.
But a lot of people are already saying that, okay, look, Mr. President is playing a very deft political game by engaging the people in the North Central who may not necessarily be ethnically or, how do I put it, who are even more southern than in some respects.
You see, let me be honest with you. Although I haven't seen that much played out in this administration, but under Obasanjo, I saw it as a deliberate strategy. Because at some point, the North was accusing Obasanjo's administration of marginalization. So deliberately, Obasanjo now started appointing people from Kogi, from North Central.
Right.
Now, when they now complain, Obasanjo will now say, is this man not a Northern? They say, no, we are talking of Connaught.
So now there is Connaught.
There is Connaught. Now, I've not had that much.
But
although there are abuse plus. And some of the happenings within the polity, for me, is also tending towards that, as if it's a deliberate attempt to, bring up Northerners from the Middle Belt. Because you see, whether we like it or not, most of these Northerners from Middle Belt, when the chips are down, our brothers from the North don't really see them as Northerners.
That's the point.
They don't really see them as Northerners. So sometimes,
and that's why
sometimes they themselves too. Sometimes they themselves they don't pander to that North sentiment.
Well, because for the most part, they are holding the short end of the stick.
So whatever it is worth, I still believe that the government also some
explanation on
what has done. But they may not necessarily tell us why they made the appointment the way they made it. But for me, I'm glad that there's some sort of balancing. The Southeasterners will not complain too much that they are not represented in the service chief arena. The North will not complain. So also the Southwest, and other parts of the country. Everybody is somehow represented from the 6 geopolitical zones.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the new Chief of Army Staff, Major General Waidi Shaibu. I was speaking to some of the lieutenant generals that I also interacted with, and they said that he was actually the top of his class, Course 41, and that is a very brilliant soldier. If you look at his resume, actually, he has 3 master's degrees.
His resume is
PhD. He's a PhD candidate in strategic studies at the University of Ibadan. The question I want to ask you is that, should we expect, in your own view, you have also followed the military institution quite a bit, should we expect a dramatic change in the security, especially dealing with terrorists, dealing with bandits, and all of the issues that we have?
Certainly, we should expect some changes. But my only prayer is that God will give him what it takes to survive that office. Don't forget, if you look at his resume and look at, is it General Yaya, the one that died? At Tyro.
Yeah.
They almost share in terms of brilliance, in terms of intelligence, in terms of rich,
both infantry,
rich resume.
Right.
They have something in common. Unfortunately, it didn't last.
Yeah.
It didn't last.
Yeah.
And we're in a society where even though those of us who are religious, we believe very strongly that there's no leaf that can fall without the knowledge and permission of God, the Creator.
Right.
But you and I also know that there are some certain centrifugal forces,
Right.
that sometimes hasten. So I pray that God gives him what it takes to survive that office. I expect changes from him, especially because I know that we are making some gains with regards to security situation in the country. Some people may want to tell you that, this is that, but you see, those of us who witnessed Boko Haram, I recall in those days.
And you were in that part of the country.
Yeah, in those days when today is when Sunday is approaching, Christians will begin to think whether to go to church or not to go to church.
A lot of fear.
With fear. When Friday is approaching, Muslims also entertain, the same fear. At some point, there was hardly any state in this country where Boko Haram had not infiltrated. To the extent that they even came close. They even came to Abuja.
They came to Abuja. Yeah.
And the first major suicide bombing. Before that suicide bomb attack on the then I think it was Hafiz regime.
Yeah.
Most Nigerians will never believe that a Nigerian, because people believe that we love to enjoy life.
Exactly.
That a Nigerian will one day wake up and say he wants to be a suicide bomber. Nobody will ever believe that, but we saw it happen.
Yeah.
And these things are receding gradually. The banditry, it's a new phenomenon. Some people will argue that it's still Boko Haram, but with my little knowledge of how Boko Haram operates, those carrying out banditry attacks are different from Boko Haram.
Well, some people say there are connections, though. That it's like the remnants. It's a claim.
I don't think so. With what I know about Boko Haram, at least I was in Maiduguri when it started.
Right.
Around 2022. 2002.
Okay.
Up to the first major attack in Borno in 2003. They are not the same thing. Although I also said it then that the government will have to do a lot of advocacy because the Boko Haram message has really penetrated, to the extent that, when a young boy of say 10, 11, you sit that boy down and you tell him that it's government apparatus that killed the father. And this was why they killed the father. That boy, without proper guidance, will be tempted to want to avenge the death of the father.
True.
And before you know it, he will join Boko Haram. So
makes sense.
we need to do a lot of work, in that regard. And government must not relax. Government must not relax. And those of us who also politicize security issues, we must be careful.
And that's the point that General Loki Rabo was making.
We must be very, we politicize security issues. Too often.
But Ismail, I want you to talk about what is happening in Benue and Plateau. Clearly, it's a unique problem there because there's a lot of land grabbing. And the governor in Plateau had said there's a genocide. He didn't call it any name, just said genocide. He didn't say whether Christian or Muslim. He said genocide. That was governor of Plateau. And then the third chief in Benue, as a matter of fact, in the presence of the president, also said there's genocide. He too didn't call it Christian. Do you think these changes in the military leadership, do you think it's going to take a more proactive and drastic, course regarding those two states where we have very, very despicable killings going on, Ismail?
No matter the change in strategy of the military, they will not be able to do enough until the residents of those two states decide to say enough is enough.
What do you mean by that? What do they have to do?
Most of the political leaders in the two states, they know the root cause of some of these issues. Benue, for instance, I'm proud to say I'm an Idoma man. I haven't grew up in Otukpo. I was born in Otukpo.
I speak the language. You basically grew up there.
I speak the language fluently.
Yeah.
I know that this spate of attacks we have in Benue was heightened during the Suswan era. And it was the political class that empowered some young men around the Sankara axis to help them perpetuate themselves in power. I know the moment what you want to use them for is over, it's difficult retrieving the arms and ammunition in their possession. And so before you know it, they begin to use it for something else. See, there's no how Fulani armed bandits will come from Senegal or Niger or wherever
and get
without
inside
an insider. And I give you one typical example. When we're in Osun, there was an attempt to do some...
And just so our viewers understand that you were the chief press secretary to Governor Itola.
Yes. During that era, there were some cases of kidnapping around Osun.
Right.
And what did we do? We empowered the hunters. We empowered the vigilantes to collaborate with the police. Now, on 3 occasions, they made an attempt to round up a particular, ringleader of that kidnapping.
Okay.
But each time they get to the venue, those guys will change location. Unknown to them, one of the security personnel in their midst was the one giving the information.
Wow.
And so the day they were to hand them off, they did not say specifically where they were going. They just said they were going out for operation. And the moment they got very close to where they were to operate, they asked everybody to surrender their phones. And so that was how
they neutralized the insider.
Now, when those guys were nabbed, we realized that there was a particular man who was always pretending to be a madman. He's an indigenous person. He is the informant.
Oh, wow. Working for the bandit.
Working for the bandit, working for the kidnappers. So meaning that there's always an insider. There's always an insider. And this brings me to this issue of state police. I don't know why we are dilly-dallying over it.
I agree with you.
Look, Borno today, no matter the level of sanity that we have recorded in Borno, no matter the successes the military recorded in Borno in the fight against Boko Haram, it wouldn't have been possible without the support of civilian JTF.
True.
Because these people...
They understand the terrain.
Apart from the fact that they understand the terrain, we know each other.
Yeah.
We know those who have tendency, of following them. And so we have a way of monitoring them.
And there's even a local appeal.
You understand? So, and
these are people.
As at the last count, virtually all the states, apart from FCT, then, I don't know now, had not subscribed to the establishment of state police. So I don't know why government is dilly-dallying. I know that the police authority, as we have it today, will do anything and everything to kick against it. They will always tell you it's not yet time. I wonder when
it will be.
But the truth is, the argument about abuse can be... Look, even the federal police, as we have it today, is being abused. So all we need to do is to tighten the provisions in such a way that they will not be at the whims and caprices of the state governors.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ismail Mikpedon. Still a lot of things to talk about, but because of our time, thank you for your insight that you bring. Thank you for your voice, and thank you for coming to Inside Sources again.
The pleasure is mine.
All right.
Thank you.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. Nigeria will prevail means that Nigeria will succeed, partly because we will continue to talk about the important issues here. Thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.